If you're an employer, let me tell you this for free. During interviews, don't fall for the fine face, except it's important in the role. Don't fall for the confidence, except it's important in the role too. The fact that you both had a smooth interview does not suggest that they're the best fit. Now, many SMEs rely on gut feelings during interviews. I like him, my spirit accepts her, as in you're hiring based on vibes, Abby. I interviewed him and he seems good is not a good hiring strategy. And if you consistently hire without proper hiring strategy, you're going to consistently increase your risk of making a bad hire. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to design a simple interview scoring system. You don't need a fancy HR software, just something simple that you can set up while you're watching this video. Now let's get started. The first step is structured questions. Every candidate must be asked the same core questions, not similar questions, the same ones. You should create 5 to 8 key questions tied to the role. Example, they could be behavioral questions. Maybe tell me about the time you handled a tight deadline. Or maybe a situational question. How would you manage a customer complaints in our Lagos branch as opposed to our Onitsha branch? Or maybe technical questions. These are going to be very role specific questions. What you want to do here is to avoid random chit chats, because you may flow with this person and it may seem like it's going well, but you would have introduced bias and you want to be as unbiased as possible when scoring your candidate. Another thing this helps you to do is that you're able to compare candidates and score them based on each question. After you've designed your core questions, the second thing you need to do is create a simple scoring table. Now rate each question, rate each answer from like maybe 1 to 5 or maybe 1 to 10, with 1 being the poorest and 5 or 10 being the best. You could have something like communication 1 to 5, technical skill 1 to 5, problem solving, cultural fit, experience relevant, just something like that, in addition to your core questions. After each interview, score the candidate immediately. Don't rely on your memory or your emotions. A simple Excel sheet works for this. Another thing that I like to add to my scoring grid is a place for general commentary, more like a personal commentary. Yeah, it's basically for emotions or unusual situations. I can say stuff like, I don't know how I feel about this person, or just something like that, but it's really for my personal use. I know I also said don't rely on your gut, but that does not mean ignore your guts completely, of course. Now, in fact, what I like to do personally is that I like to leave the gut feeling to whoever is making the final decision in the interview process. If I'm the person who is doing that, I implement it, but I like to leave it for whoever it is that is doing it. Now, the last step to designing your own interview scoring system is to introduce what I call bias reductions. Now, this is not an actual thing that you're building into it. It's just systems that you're putting in place to reduce bias. And one of them is to use the same grid for all candidates, right? The same scoring grid for all candidates. Another thing you could also do where possible is to involve extra interviewers who will also be scoring based on the same metrics that you're scoring. And then at the end of the day, you go for the average scores. You should also blend elements like names or maybe something that is specific. And the best way to do this is to allocate numbers instead of names in your scoring grid, and then use those numbers on your scoring sheet when making your final decisions. Then the last thing, but definitely not the least thing that you have to do is to train yourself on unconscious bias, like maybe accent, gender, or stuff like that. Because you figure it's because a person who speaks plenty English can't say the person qualified for the job. Now, this is your complete simple interview scoring system, and it's perfect for small businesses that are serious about building a reliable team. Putting this system in place protects you from hiring somebody just because they are confident, or maybe even hiring somebody because you both share similar traits. That happens a lot more than you imagine. Now, implement this in your next hire and see the difference. Share this to a business owner who needs this. Like and subscribe to this video to get more employer relevant content like this.